Hey friends, welcome to another off-grid cabin video. In today's video, we're gonna be trying out one of these kerosene heaters. Now, what we've needed to do is heat our space much more quickly in the winter time. It just takes forever with our wall heater. So I'm gonna unbox this thing, I'm gonna show you how to set it up, and we're gonna run it for the first time in this space to give it a test and a review. Now, this is the Dyna-Glo 23,800 BTU kerosene heater. And here's everything that's included in the box. We have the main unit, we have the base area where we put the kerosene. We've got our cages here. There's two of these. They're gonna sit on either side. We've got our topper pieces, a siphon, batteries, a couple of screws, instruction manuals, and then this is the handle. Now inside the main cylinder, you can see this is where our wick is gonna come up and the flame will be pushed out when everything's burning. You can see we have our cage and igniter system. And then down here, actually in this slot is where our wick is. So we'll first put this topper on top of the cylinder here. Basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that arrow and you're gonna line it up on either side with the carrying handles. Now the little feet on the top, all of them are gonna go on the inside, and then you should see a hole straight through that area as long as everything is lined up. Okay, we'll go ahead and install the cages next. And first we're gonna look for this one with the little opening down at the bottom. And this is gonna seat on the front of the unit. And what we're looking for over here is a couple of hooks. You can see one right there, and the other one is down right there. So we can put the first one in on top, just like that. And then on the bottom, you can see that that one will slot in just like that. And so we'll go ahead and do that on the other side and mirror it over here. You have to pull this out just a little bit to make sure it slots in, but as you can see, it's on there nice and firm now. Again, you want to make sure this little window area is right here so we can grab and open this up. Okay, we'll take this one and we're going to do the same thing just on the back. And again, we're looking to make sure this little area right here is pointed downward and this one goes straight in. That's how you know it's in the right position. Okay, we got both the cage sides on. Let's go ahead and get that top piece on. Okay, next we're gonna insert the handle. And this is gonna align with the hole we created over here. And on the other side, you have to bend this out just a little bit. It's nice and flexible. And basically we'll start over here. I'm just gonna push this into the hole like that. And then we'll pull this out, make sure you go on the outside of the cage. And we'll push it in the hole on the other side. And there you go. Okay, so finally we're gonna put the top wire piece on. Basically, there's a hole right here, a little bracket, one on the opposite side. Those are gonna align with these holes right here. So I'm just gonna set that down on top. So I've got a little screw, you can see it pushing through there, and we'll just tighten that down a little bit with our screwdriver here. And then we're gonna repeat the process on the other side. Okay, everything is on and secure. Should look like this when you are all finished. Okay, with batteries in place, we can close this down. Now, from what I understand, if for some reason your batteries were dead, you can actually use the front window and a little electric lighter to light the front area and get a spark that way. And that's it. That is the full assembly process. We're ready to put some kerosene in. Obviously, we're gonna do this outside though. Super important for both safety and to prevent that kerosene smell. Just taking a closer look really quick, you can see down here is where we have our little cap. And once we remove this, that's where our kerosene is going to go. And again, that's your fuel source down there. Over here, we have our igniter button, and we can push that again when things are all in place. We have our little wick adjustment, and basically we can lower it down or heighten up the wick doing that. I'm gonna push this all the way down, and basically that just makes the flame higher or lower. And again, that needs a touch of adjustment as you're getting things going. This is our emergency cutoff switch or the manual shutoff switch. You just push that down and it will extinguish things. And then we have a fuel gauge over here so you can get a general idea of both your runtime as well as the remaining kerosene in your tank. Also, friends, use 1K kerosene only. There's all sorts of other warnings on the instructions and everywhere else that says do not use gasoline. It can become very dangerous if you do that. You can also see we have our viewing window here where you can see the wick kind of moving in the height of the flame for adjustment. And then again, we have our little open door area where we are able to see a little bit more of the ignition process. Again, we're supposed to have this open when lighting. Okay, we're outside the cabin to do this for safety, and I'm gonna be siphoning, this is an included siphon, the kerosene from this container. I purchased this at Lowe's, you can get them at Home Depot. It's also much cheaper to do it through like a gas station. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna siphon it out of here into our container so everything stays nice and clean, you don't spill kerosene everywhere. And as we do this, we're gonna be monitoring our level down here, and we're gonna make sure we stop before that full mark so we don't spill kerosene out. And basically, this little knob needs to be tightened up top. As you can see, I'm just gonna squeeze it down like that so it's nice and tight. And then basically we can just squeeze this ball. As you can see, the kerosene comes out of our container. It's not a super fast process, but it's definitely clean. Okay, as you can see, we're all the way up to the full mark there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over, I'm gonna gently lift this out. Don't want to, again, spill it over the container, but I'll just kind of shake that end out there. And then what we're also supposed to do is actually turn this knob, loosen it, so that all of the kerosene that's stored up in here will, again, float back down into our container. Now, this is 2.5 gallons, and you can kind of see the line shaking right about there. So I've used maybe 3/4 of this larger size jug here that we purchased. Okay, we've put the cap back on, and we're actually gonna let this sit for an hour. We need to let that wick soak up all of that kerosene that we put down in the base. And then in an hour, we'll go ahead and try the ignition process. Okay, it's actually the next day, and we were able to try things out last night, and this thing actually worked great. So now, again, after it's soaked up the kerosene the wick has for roughly an hour, you're ready to start it up. Let me show you that process here really quick. So basically, again, with the batteries in, we need to come over here with this knob. We're gonna turn it all the way to the right, and that's gonna lift that wick up into place. I can open up this door, and this is gonna give us a better view into the process. And then what I can do is I can come down here and I'm gonna push and hold this red button over. You won't hear any kind of a sound. You can actually see the flame kind of sputtering to life there. And then you'll see it start to move here in the cage. It's a little difficult to see on camera right here. You can see it a little bit better here through the window. And what I can do is I can just come down here, I can grab this little adjuster knob, and just slide this around a little bit here. This will just get the wick exposed to a little more flame. Again, because I'm outside, this is a little bit difficult because of the wind here and the breeze. But it takes just a moment, as you can see, as I'm kind of moving this around like this. That flame starts moving all the way around. And again, getting that wick nice and lit. So overall, it's really easy to put together. It's really easy to start. Now, there are a few things you need to do as far as adjusting the flame. 5 to 7 minutes after it's been ignited, you need to really make sure it's only a 1/2 inch above the little burner area. Again, consult the owner's manual for proper use of this thing. But again, for us, this thing really did work excellent in our 1,000 square foot cabin space, with raising the temperature up to a level where then our wall furnace, the propane wall furnace, could take over and keep a good maintenance level. So definitely for us, this is a great supplementary heat source. Again, for a lot of people, I think this is going to be a great primary heat source, or again, emergency backup heat source. Now, a couple of minor negatives. One, I don't like this handle. You can actually touch it even after the furnace has been lit for a while, because you don't get a lot of heat coming off this way. The heat really only rises out of the top here. But this thing does, if it jiggles around a little bit, it'll unseat, it can come loose. Kind of dangerous in my opinion. Really make sure that handle is seated correctly before you pick it up and move it around. The other thing that you need to take note of is if you're in a high altitude environment, we're at 9,500 feet, and this thing, I had to keep the burner knob completely cranked for the flame to be at the appropriate height. And again, it kind of flickered and sputtered a little bit on us. And I think that's, again, because of the low oxygen environment that we are at these high altitude environments. I need to do a little more research on that and see if we can adjust some settings or anything like that to get a good, better burn. But other than those two things, again, a great little heater. So there you go. That's the Dyna-Glo 23,800 BTU heater. Great little heat source. We've really been happy with it. If you're interested in grabbing one for yourself, you can get it right here on Amazon. Hopefully this video has helped. If it has, stay tuned, because we're actually going to do a bunch more videos on the operation of this thing, the appropriate places to put it in your house for proper ventilation, and again, just overall use techniques to really get the best fluctuation of heat within your space. All right, friends, we'll see you again on the next one.